Give me just a moment. 907 area code. You're on Black Talk Radio News with Scotty Reed. Would you like to add to what I'm saying, or do you have a question?
Yes, it's 907.
Yes.
Yes. No, I want to add to what you're saying. I was born in the heart of Dixon, Montgomery, Alabama, 65 years old, and we 6 blocks south of the state capitol. My parents raised me just like this here. Do unto others as you would wish to have them to do unto you. But we also knew that there was a law in town called Jim Crow, and they were hanging our people at that time. Mm-hmm. But this is something my father and my mother drilled into our heads. You only can kiss butt only so long. Sometimes you got to put your life on the line to stand up for the principle of not being enslaved and mistreated by anyone. And that's the way I live today. There's a line that I'm always going to have. I don't care who you are, whether it's race, it don't matter. But when you take advantage of what I feel is the principle for me being alive to protect myself and definitely my family. My life means nothing when it comes to my family. This is what we as people have to do. They've been killing our people forever, and I'm not going to kiss their butt right here nowhere else and try to shove it under the rug. One day, we're going to have to stand together. Mm-hmm. A closed fist is more powerful than an open hand, and that's what I have to add to you. And whatever you got to say, brother, I support you and anybody else who's like that.
No, I appreciate you as an elder, someone who suffered things that I can only imagine or I can only hear about from my mother. I can only hear about from my father, my uncles, and my aunts. Who also, we weren't as deep in the South as you were, but we're right here in North Carolina. And, Ku Klux Klan, all of that was going on here. And I asked my mother today, I was having this conversation with her, and I said, did your parents teach you to never look a white person in the eye? To just shuffle along and look at the ground and, just let them treat you any kind of way. My mother was born in 1948, and she's one of the youngest. I think she's like third youngest or something like that. And it was 12 of them, and the majority of them was like boys, 9 boys and 3 girls, I think. Yeah, 9 boys and 3 girls, so it's 12 of them. And she said no. She said our parents did not teach us that. When my aunt was the first black person in this little old redneck town when they integrated, the school system, the Ku Klux Klan decided they want to burn a cross in my grandfather's yard. Okay, I'm on the property right now. All right, decided they want to burn a cross in the yard to protest her going to that school. And my uncles, all 9 of them, from what I was told, grabbed their guns and chased these people off the property and even shot at them. And guess what? Those people never came back and never bothered them again. She never had a problem again with these people. I look at sometimes the system of oppression as a bully. And we know how bullies operate. If you allow a bully to beat you up every day, take your lunch money, whatever, and you never stand up to that bully, then your life is going to be hell for the rest of your life, or as for long as you're around that bully. Okay, most of us can't pick up and leave this country. And so when I look at this country, I look at it as a bully or the people that's running this government. And if we don't stand up to it, what should we expect? And then, too, do you think an oppressor even has respect for a submissive person, in your opinion? I wouldn't.
I'm going to bring it home to you just like this here. I heard a brother speak, and this is what he said in reference to people telling you, if you don't like it here, pick your stuff up and go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And his answer to that was the most profound answer I have ever heard, and it's a true fact. what am I going to leave the United States for when 97% of my people were here when all the other immigrants got here? Mm-hmm. So if anybody going to leave first, they should be the one who came in last that leaves first. We was already here when they got here. And when you learn your history and understand your history, when you come to that point about who's running the country, as long as I've been living, there's something that I have learned. And I heard you speak on it earlier about one who doesn't want to engage in the voting system. The voting system in this country, I seen an elected official that we went out and the majority voted for this person to be president. And the Electoral College put their thumb in our face saying they're going to appoint who they wanted, and that's what they did. Mm-hmm. You know, they didn't tell us that, but that's what they did. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to a president, one of the worst presidents I've known was Bush. But one thing I give him credit for, he cared less about what anybody had to say about what he was going to do. He said, Congress is not the president, I'm the president. Mm-hmm. And he did whatever he wanted to, even though it was against the law and the Constitution. When it comes to the president, and his knees buckle up under pressure about what he know is right and what he know is wrong, I wouldn't care if he was my daddy. I'm not going to support him any further. Bottom line.
I heard that. Well, caller, I thank you for calling in. I do got some other information I need to share about Trayvon Martin's case, but, I mean, that is valuable testimony as someone who lived under the oppressive system, because what y'all went through, you know, these young people today, even my generation, you know, we don't know what it's like to live under real oppression. You know what I'm saying?
So, I definitely understand. I know where you're coming from. I appreciate your program. And like I say, it doesn't matter whether I know you. Mm-hmm. What makes me know you is what's right and what's wrong. And when someone is doing you wrong, and I know that, I have to come to your defense, even though it may cost me my life. But if I don't come and stand for you, as the old guy I read in a history book, he said, if I don't stand for you when they come for you, when they come for me, they'll be taking them all away, and there won't be none left stand for me. So I leave you with peace, brother.
Peace. Thank you, Elder. And I certainly agree with that. And then let me get to another thing that he just brought up. Another part of this philosophy is that you don't attack other black people. You don't criticize other black people. But I'm like saying, okay, so who do I address then when I see a black president who will go and hold a beer summit with his buddy and a cop who he said falsely arrested him in his own house, but hasn't said two words about young Trayvon Martin or Oscar Grant or Ramarley Graham? Huh? Caving under pressure. Yes. Why does he care so much about what these people who hate him because of his skin color had to say? They gonna say he could do everything they wanted him to do, and they still is gonna hate him. I mean, look at the health care. These people that talk about Obamacare. I don't call it Obamacare, but the Health Care Reform Act. I just read the other day that millions of Americans are going to get rebates if these insurance companies are not spending 85% of the money they're taking in from premiums on actual health care and not going in their pockets. Why would you talk against something like that's going to benefit you? So no matter what he does, whether it benefits them or not, they don't see that. They hate him because of his skin color. So why would you be pandering to those people instead of addressing the people that put you in office? And there's no way he would have become president without the black vote. 97%, 96% of the black voting population supported President Obama. And then, so again, getting back to what they say, never criticize, don't criticize President Obama, don't say nothing, make no demands of him. Again, what did Frederick Douglass say? Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand. And I'll tell you, it probably would have been maybe 100 years later if Frederick Douglass wasn't up in the ear of Abraham Lincoln, who this president calls his favorite president. If not for Frederick Douglass, the enslaved African people would not have been set free when they were set free. And I absolutely believe that with all my heart. As I have studied and read about the conversations that Douglass has had with Lincoln and their relationship. He was demanding. Lincoln didn't want to set no slaves free. He wanted to ship them off somewhere else. He didn't want, you know what I'm saying? He was willing to remain, let the states that already had slavery, let that stay in place. Just the new states or territories, they wasn't going to expand slavery to. So, you know, these people want to romanticize Lincoln and all this and that. No, you need to be giving the credit to Frederick Douglass, a black man who made demands of Lincoln to let my people go. And so I'm not supposed to demand of President Obama to let my people go and end this darn drug war where a majority of our people are in prison for nonviolent drug crimes. That makes them political prisoners. Because they haven't committed a crime against anyone else. They ain't shoot nobody. They didn't stab nobody. They didn't murder anyone. So why are they in prison? Why are our prisons filled with these people? It's a political and an economic thing because they are re-enslaving us, all right, and making money off of us. And so I'm supposed to sit by and say nothing, make no demands on President Obama? And I did vote for him in 2008. So, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't vote to be voting. But then again, these people I'm talking about don't vote anyway. But they say, don't criticize the president. Don't criticize black people in power. Or don't criticize other victims. But then at the same time, I will hear them belittle, sometimes even criticize these people like those who are down there in Florida right now, marching, demanding justice for Trayvon Martin. The ones that marched and demanded justice for Oscar Grant. The ones that's in New York right now, protesting, stop and frisk. Now, if you're not supposed to criticize black people because they ain't got no power, then why are you criticizing those people? Because they ain't in charge either. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I got a headache trying to make sense of this philosophy. It's not making any sense. Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand. You see white people making demands all the time. Did they beg King George to stop taxing them and this and that? No, they didn't. No. They didn't beg him. They demanded it. And when their demands wasn't met, what did they do? They took up arms. We as people, why should we be any different? All options should be on the table. Just like how we hear them talking about Iran, if they get a nuclear program, we're going to try to talk to them first and talk them out of it and this and that and, you know, but we leave the military option on the table. Why should we do anything differently? That's why, and I have been critical in the past, especially of black militants. You know, it was some years ago, I did this program called The Angry Black Man. Because I was like, you know, these guys, and I still stand by my statement, New Black Panther Party, stay off of Fox News, okay? Because all they doing is using you to scare white people, to sit up there and say, see, this is what happens. This is what's waiting for you if blacks ever get it. They're using you in their propaganda efforts to instill fear and hatred towards black people and to white people. Stay off of Fox News. Black people don't watch Fox News. So if you say, and one of them did say to me, or said in response to the program I did, we just trying to get a message to our people. No, our people don't watch Fox News, brother. But you know what? I no longer criticize those black militant groups out there, especially like the ones lately that's saying, well, if the system don't do something about this killer, George Zimmerman, who has murdered one of our children, then we will go after him. We will make a citizen's arrest and we will turn him over to federal authorities. They didn't say they was going to kill him or do this and that. Of course, you shouldn't say nothing like that. You don't announce your plans out in the open like that. If that's what you was thinking about doing, if they let this man free. Okay. But no, they didn't say that they was going to kill him or no. They said they was going to bring him to the federal authorities. And then you get, what's his name, Russell Simmons criticizing them, talking about they trying to start a race war. Like I said, we've been at war. We've been at war. Where he been? We've been at war. If you don't think our kids getting shot down in the street means we're in a war, then I don't know what to tell you. But I will no longer criticize those black militants unless they doing something stupid like going on Fox News. But if they making demands on the government and saying we want justice or else, why should I criticize them? That's what the government do. If the government don't get its way with another country, what do? It go to war. So why should I criticize them? I may not agree with whatever action. I may not agree that it could be successful, but I'm not going to criticize them because they doing what they know to do. They know they're doing what's in their heart to do. And at least they doing something instead of sitting back with this non-engagement attitude, this passivity, and saying, oh, the white system of supremacy is so powerful, you can't do nothing about it. That's basically what I'm hearing. Nah. We have made gains in this country. We've come a long way. And it's been on the backs of our forefathers who built this country. And to bring up what the guest said that he heard somebody say, these other groups ought to leave before we leave because we was here before them. But why should I leave a place that my ancestors built with their blood, sweat, and tears and wasn't paid for it? So that means I'll accept this country as payment for their labor. I own this country. I don't concede it to them. I don't concede it to anyone. I have just as much a claim as anybody else, maybe even more so. So I concede nothing. And maybe if you take ownership of this country, then maybe you might think you got something invested in it to do something about it and make things better instead of sitting back, complaining about it, talking about the white man all powerful, all seeing, all knowing, like he's some sort of God who can't be defeated. And I'm not talking about all white people, of course. I'm not. But you know who I'm talking about. And then I consider black people. I read a story today about a black superintendent who was calling his black employees slaves and you know, just very antagonistic towards them, making their lives hell as if they ain't got enough to deal with. You know, one of those people black people that kiss butt, go along with the system of white supremacy as long as it benefits them in some kind of way. I'm not supposed to criticize people like that. I consider them to be the enemy. If you working for the enemy, if you standing on the side of the enemy, I don't care what color you are. You my enemy too. And just cause you black, I'm not going to say you my friend. You my enemy. If you working to uphold the system that is oppressing us, then you have chosen a side. And so then you fair game just like I would go after anybody else. Makes sense to me.